Okay, this video is going to just review a few of the basics of throwing a cylinder and then also showing you how to finish it off at the end and get it ready for your mug assignment, your face mug assignment. So I've got the bolts on here, but I am not working with a bat, and that's because I've been doing this a long time and I can avoid those little things and not have to worry about it. I'm pretty good at not banging my hands because I've been doing it for so long. Okay, so making sure I'm right in the center. I've got a symmetrical mound, as symmetrical as I can possibly get it at this beginning stage. I'm gonna seal the edge with my finger. Got my butt all the way up to the front. And it's gonna center really easily. I could cone if I wanted to. And you know, one of the things I have been seeing is people opening up with not a mound, not a nice little mound in weird different shapes. You really want it to be this nice little rounded hill when you open up. I'm looking for that stillness right in the very center. I'm also seeing a lot of people like kind of covering it with their hand. You have to pull that hand back so you can actually see what you're doing. I'm gonna go down until in my mind's eye I'm about 1/2 inch. I'm gonna pull back, keeping that tension, keeping my elbow in. I've got a tiny bit of a wobble. I'm gonna maybe take a second. I think I'm going to go down a tiny bit more. And then, so I'm curling my fingers back and then I'm straightening them at the end to create that 90-degree angle. Okay, so I've got my wheel that's been going relatively fast. I'm going to slow it way down. And I'm gonna compress the inside just a little bit to make sure that I've got a nice flat bottom and that the molecules here are all stacking up nicely. This will help keep it from cracking later on. Okay, then I'm gonna go slow. Now, I like to have my thumb on the outside in this beginning part. But I've been teaching you guys to not have your thumb on the outside and having it here. But you could go either way. I like my thumb there at the beginning. And obviously this is a lot of clay. This is a way bigger cylinder than I would probably use for a mug, unless it's a giant mug. So we'll see. But squeeze and pull up. Can you guys see on the screen? Am I blocking it? Is it okay? And then here is, a lot of people are getting to this point here where you've got this ton of thickness at the bottom. You've got a pretty good start, but then how do you get all of this up? If you remember correctly from the video, she creates like a little shelf. You almost have to have something to grab onto to pick it up and lift it up. Also, the higher the walls get, the slower you want this to go. So I'm gonna take that middle finger and I'm gonna really get underneath here. And then the same thing's happening on the inside, but my inside hand is slightly higher than my outside hand. Elbows tucked in, and I'm gonna grab that clay from the bottom and slowly, 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 my hand speed is matching the speed of the wheel, and then I'm gonna roll over the top and set the lip. Getting a little flare out at the top here. So remember your coloring. So many people are having this problem where they're making bowls and bowls and bowls. Remember, you don't wanna use your whole hands. You just wanna use the pressure points on your fingers, and I'm just gonna collar this in and kind of tame it a little bit and just bring it in. So I'm going more straight. Okay, so I'm gonna do a couple more pulls, not too many. And again, that clay just is thickest at the bottom. So I'm creating like a little shelf. And again, I can't use my thumb on the outside now because it's too high. So I've got my thumb on my other hand. Going nice and slow, wheels going nice and slow. I'm getting that flare out at the top. And then I can put my thumb on the outside too as I'm setting the lip. Okay, so I could probably do a couple more pulls on here, but I want to show you, I don't want this to be too long, and I want to show you what's next. So I'm just going to collar this in. So I've got a really nice straight edge. Okay, so there's a few things that you really need to think about before you take this off the wheel to save it for use later. One of them is that you want to get rid of excess clay down here, and you want to make sure that there's no standing water on the inside. If you have a pool of water on the inside here, it will start to disintegrate the bottom as it's drying out, and you don't want that. So instead of just reaching my hand down in here, I'm gonna put my elbow on my leg. I'm gonna grab this wrist so it's really well anchored, and then I'm gonna put my hand down in here and make sure that there's no standing water on the inside there. I definitely could probably, like I'm still getting a little bit of like a V at the bottom on the inside in here. I could spend more time. It's probably gonna be thicker on the bottom than it is on the top, but for time's sake, I'm not gonna mess with it too much. Okay, so after you get the standing water out of here, so many beginning students will just cut this right off just the way it is. But it makes trimming harder later when you have inconsistency at the bottom. If you have a nice clean edge and you get rid of a bunch of the clay already at the bottom, it's gonna make trimming easier for you. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab this tool with two hands, nice and tight, elbows tucked in, and you're just gonna slide it at an angle down the side, straight down, like that, okay? So I'm at a 45, but the tool is really going straight 90 to the wheel head, okay? Then I'm gonna turn this tool. Again, I'm using two hands, nice and steady, and I'm gonna come into the side and get rid of more of that clay. And if it doesn't work out the first time, you can always do it again. Sometimes I actually like to use the curved end to kind of come in and drag that excess clay off. So now I've got this really nice 90-degree angle. You could clean it up even more if you wanted, and that is gonna make trimming this later so much easier. Okay, so no standing water, trim off the excess on the bottom. Then you're gonna take the wire, and this is, it's harder, you can't just like pull on these handles because you're not getting enough tension. You need to choke up on this, so wrap it around your two fingers and then get your thumbs really tight like this, and then you're gonna pull towards yourself with it. I could actually choke up even more on that. And then once you do it once, you're gonna take some water, you're gonna slosh it on the back there, and then this time when I go under with the wire, I'm gonna drag some of that water, and you'll see that it immediately starts to slide because I put the water underneath it, right? So then I'm gonna take a board, and at this point, if you have a pretty solid base, I could just slide it off onto my hand and pick it up and move it. But if you have a delicate piece or you're worried about it warping, what you can do is you can take the splash pan, just one side of the splash pan off. This actually works best if you have, oh dang it, I just totally gouged out a whatever. If you have a partner to hold this for you, But you can also do it one-handed if you just put the board here and then you go like this and you just slide it right off. And sometimes if you have thin or delicate pieces, this is the best way to do it so that you don't warp it. Mine's really ruggedly solid, so I don't have to worry about that. I could have picked it up easily with my hands. And then from here, the bottom is gonna dry a lot slower than the top, okay? And we wanna trim the bottom, and we don't want this to get bone dry. So when you cover it, you wanna cover it pretty well at the top, but maybe a little bit looser at the bottom so that you get some like air circulation happening at the bottom to get this part to dry out a little faster than the top. Okay, so this is what you want it to look like preparing for a mug project or any finished project.